Okay, I am excited for this training tonight. As always, it's going to be rapid fire, it's going to be short, sharp, and to the point, and it's going to be packed full of value. So, as always, when you're jumping on, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from, because I know there's such a global audience on here, and I've connected with so many beautiful people from all around the world. So let me know where you're tuning in from. And of course, if you're doing the replay, go hashtag replay. So tonight we are going to dive into a subject that I really love, because I've had a lot of stuff around sales, and I'm going to share a bit of my sales story once we dive in. But tonight's training is, how to stop sucking at sales and become a soul-aligned sales queen. So I'm going to be sharing 3 really important steps to stop doing that and really step into being this fully embodied sales queen. Now stay on to the end, because as always, I've got a special offer and it's a little bit different than last week. So let's dive into it. So be sure to, for the next 20-ish minutes, I'm really going to be sharing with you guys a little bit of my sales story from a perspective that I feel it's really going to be of value and beneficial. So there's a reason I'm going to be sharing certain parts of my story a little bit more than normal tonight. And I'm going to share 3 things that you really get to focus on when it gets to become a soul-aligned sales queen. So about 20-ish minutes to stay fully immersed. Takes notes if you need to. Come back and watch the replay. It will be here. So I want to dive into my story a little bit, especially around sales, because a lot of people see what I'm doing now and the results I've created, after certain programs. I've had months where I've done 19.5K USD in sales. I've done 300K in USD in sales in 3 months. So I use those different amounts because it's different products I was selling, right? And people can see that and be like, wow, this is so great. You're a born natural at sales. And people have told me a lot of things. The truth is that I freaking used to suck at sales. And I used to have a lot of beliefs around sales. So, I remember 5 years ago, and this is such a funny story, and I want to share it because it might spark some beliefs that you've also created from events in your life. So I remember doing some timeline therapy once, which is what I'm qualified in now, as well as quantum healing, as well as being a quantum healer. Is I remember 5 years ago doing timeline therapy with my coach, and I had just gotten into network marketing. I was selling shakes. I was selling my own coaching package. It was a 3-day health and wellness thing back then, and nothing was really happening. And when I did this stuff with my coach 5 years ago, she got really clear and assisted and supported me in getting clear on where my beliefs had come from and the beliefs I was actually running that was stopping me from making sales. And when we did the timeline therapy, what timeline therapy is, if you're new to it, you haven't heard of it or experienced it, is when we go back to the event, we find the limiting belief, the deepest, lowest negative meaning. We go back to that event, we float above it, we get the positive lessons, the positive learnings, therefore creating rapid change within our lives. So timeline therapy really takes away the charge, the emotion, the negative belief, the negative emotion. So it's amazing. Now, when I did timeline therapy 5 years ago, I realized that I had this belief that it was really skeezy and sleazy to be selling, and that all salespeople were skeezy and sleazy. I mean, if that wasn't a pattern that was stopping my results, I don't know what was, right? Because I was not making any sales back then when I was running this belief. So when I rewired it and went back to that event, I actually realized that I had taken on this event from back in the day. You're having your family dinner, and when there used to be actual telephones on the walls, those things with the dialing thing. Can't even remember what it's called, but I remember a telemarketer calling us in the middle of the dinner, and it happened a few times over the duration of me growing up. And my mum just answered it, hung up, and she's like, oh God, salesman is such a pain in the ass, because it was some telemarketer guy. And I took on that belief that all sales were skeezy, salesmen were like sleazy, salesmen were bad. I took it on from that event, and I'd been carrying it from 6 years old to like 35, 36. Which is wild. What a belief, right? But it was such a gift to actually notice that. And once I rewired it, things really changed. Now, I share that because you might notice, and it might give you the opportunity to reflect back and go like, God, what do I think about sales? And even like, where did that even come from? Is that belief even mine? Because the beliefs and patterns we're running are not actually ours. They're just things we've learned. They're just learnt behaviors, learnt beliefs, learnt patterns. They're not even ours. So we really get to reclaim our power around that. Now, that was the first thing I really noticed about sales. And once I got rid of that, I was really able to start creating a lot more momentum in my businesses back then. And then I moved on to about 2 years ago. Things started flowing. I started learning the skill set, doing all the things. Things were flowing really beautifully. And then into 2 years ago, I started selling coaching programs for another beautiful coach. Now, when people booked in for those sales calls, they actually had a little bit of a questionnaire, and even around finances, like what they were making, what they were willing to invest. So you can imagine I was selling programs that were anywhere up from 1,000 to 100,000. And some people would book for specific calls that might have been 100,000. I would look at their, their form, and I'd see, they'd openly share what they were making. And I would immediately, with a lot of them, disqualify them. Like I would jump on the call with the energy of that these people couldn't afford any of the services I was selling. I mean, can you imagine the energetics that I was transferring onto these people and the pre-assumptions I was putting onto these people, coming from a place where they can't really afford it, but I'll do the call because they've booked it. That's what I said I would do. But I'm starting the call, dialing the number, pre-assuming they can't even afford that. So you can bet your bottom dollar for 3 months I bombed every single sales call within that company. Every single one. Did not sell a freaking thing. It was it was wild. I was like, what is going on? I can sell my products. I can do this. But when people book my sales calls, I don't know what they have to invest. With hers, I knew. They'd given me a little bit more of a detailed personal history. So I pre-assumed a lot, which when I stopped, it changed the entire game. Learning not to pre-assume took me from selling absolutely nothing in 3 months to closing 300K worth of sales for her in 3 months. Like, it was wild. In 12 weeks, I sold 300K USD in products because I switched my mindset. I no longer stopped pre-assuming people couldn't afford my services or her services. And maybe even as you're listening to this and listening to this part of the story, you might be thinking, shit, I'm actually pre-assuming a lot for people that are asking me about my services, whether it's coaching, whether it's affiliate marketing. And I see this a lot with the women I work with, the women I have calls with. They're pre-assuming that people can't afford things before they even open up the messages or jump on the call. And so I share this from a place of not like judgment, but inviting you to get curious with yourself, curious as to what the beliefs are around sales, around people affording your program or product, service, whatever it is, before you've even jumped on the phone or before you've even opened your messenger. So those are like a few of my key moments around sales, the beliefs I had, the energetics I had that really made me like fluff up, fail, bomb, whatever you want to call it, a lot of sales calls. But it's all a gift. I've got no judgment. And I really want to share from those stories. And I really do trust that they're, helping get some things like moving and shifting and noticing, most of all, things that you've believed too. And I just want to share now the 3 steps to master sales and really stop sucking at them and becoming like a solar line queen. Now, this isn't just stuff that's worked for me and closing like, now it's like 600 USD in 24 months, sorry. It's also helped my clients close a lot of sales. It's not just working for me. So I don't share stuff from a point of view where I've just done it and it's worked. I only share the stuff that has worked across the board, right? Because I'm not here to waste people's time in these trainings. We want to get like real results, right? We're here for speed. We're here for action. So my first tip is get clear on the beliefs you have around sales. If you're feeling brave, you're feeling audacious, you're feeling ready to go, drop them in the comments below. What have been your beliefs around sales up until today? Knowing that it means absolutely nothing about you or your results or you as a human. It just is what it is. We look at it from a place of compassion. What have you been believing around the sales process, sales people, the cost of the products, the cost of the services, no matter what you're selling? What have you been believing around sales and your products and the value around sales? And even I invite you to tap into the beliefs that you have around your abilities to sell. You might have all the I suck at sales, I'm not good at sales, sales is skeezy, sales is sleazy, sales is hard, people can't afford my products, people can't afford my services. I've heard it all. I've also said a lot of it. So just remembering that your beliefs are producing the results you're getting now. So the income you're getting, the sales you're making, are in direct correlation with the beliefs you're running in your subconscious now, because they are responsible for 95% of your results. So getting clarity on those is key. And so just notice what you say to yourself when you think about selling, when it comes to selling. It's such a powerful thing. And you can remove this doing like timeline therapy and getting to the actual root cause, getting clear on the event of when that belief was created, because it might be something simple like me. It might be when, the telemarketer was calling us during dinner and my mum saying, oh God, not another salesman. And I created the belief of sales is sleazy, salesmen are annoying, sales is annoying. It's really interesting when we dive into this. So yeah, that is number one, first and foremost, because when we know what gets to be cleared, we can clear it. We will also never get shown anything that we're not ready to clear and we're not ready to handle. So number two, and this is more in correlation to how I changed my results when it came to not only selling in other coaches' programs, but I also do it for my own calls now. And I really teach a lot about the energetics around sales, because this is what had me close nothing for 3 months for another coach and then had me smash away 300,000 in 12 weeks. This is the energetics around sales. This is hopping on your calls from a place of knowing the sale is done, but also releasing any attachment to the end result. I know they're very close, they're very opposite, but together, it's the most powerful combination to ensure you are closing your sales with ease, flow, and grace. Because if you hop onto a call or open your messenger box, pre-assuming that the sale's going to be hard, people can't afford your product or service, much like I was 2 years ago, you're not going to close your sales. But when you come from a place of like really embodying that version of you that's made the sale, and you can even have, before you hop on your call, you can have like your Stripe ready, your bank account details ready, what else do people use? PayPal link ready, so people can purchase with you on the call. Assume the sale is done. And of course, release attachment at the same time. Because selling really is service. And when we're selling, we're actually supporting people to step into their highest and to create the results that they desire. Like, how incredible is that? Like, the women I have sold to over the years, and even so more recently, if they hadn't done my 12-week, my 6-week program, I'm getting feedback that they have had the biggest results of their career. the most sales, the most impact, the most leads, and they have tried everything. Can you imagine if I came from a place of pre-assuming and having the sales is sleazy, salespeople are horrible? Those women would not have gotten my help. They would not have erased and overcome a lot of limiting beliefs that were holding them back. They wouldn't have stepped into the unshakable confidence that they have now. The changes are insane in my program. It's freaking insane. And if I didn't embody the version of me that knew the sale was done, I wouldn't have been able to serve those women. So I really invite you to look at what sort of energy you're in when you're opening your inbox, when you're stepping on sales calls, knowing that you can shift your energy at any time. So just check in with that before messages, before sales calls. And another tip around that is to not be reactive with your messaging. Say if you are, a lot of us, like even in network marketing, coaching, pretty much all sales places, right? All services, all products, people will message us and reach out to us. Now, you might be in a rush or you might not be in an energetic frame of mind, a positive frame of mind to open a message at that time. So I really invite you to see, am I being reactive or could I pause for a moment and reply to this message when I know I have space to make sure I'm in the highest and I'm serving this person at the highest and supporting them at the highest. So something really cool that you get to notice there. And I really invite you to see, are you actually passionate and do you have belief in what you're selling? Because, I know when I started in a different company as the chick that sold shakes and I was doing all the stuff, after 5 years, my belief was at 0 and I no longer had passion around the industry and the products. I was personally, in 5 years, I'd done a lot of 30-day cleanses and I was personally over it. It wasn't a value to me anymore. So I couldn't authentically sell it, right? When I switched and I found a new product, not saying that you have to, this is my story and I'm sharing it, trusting that it serves and lands correctly as it's meant to. When I switched and I had that belief and I had that rock solid belief around something I could really get behind, the sales came too. So just really, if you're not passionate about what you're selling or there's no belief, I really invite you to look at the beliefs you're holding because they can essentially be reversed too. If there's any beliefs around your ability to sell a certain product or service, they get to be rewired using things like timeline therapy. Now, those two are the most important to me, but also number 3, my last and final one, is super important also. All 3 are just as important. Energetics and understanding the energetics behind sales is probably the one that's made me the most and allowed me to be of the most impact, 100%. But number 3 is learning the skill set and becoming obsessed with sales. So this could look like, whenever I want to learn something and I feel like there gets to be an upgrade, I'll go specifically study it. When I wanted to get into sales, I remember reading a book and it told me, if you want to get better at something, be obsessed with learning the skills. So about 5 years ago, when I first decided I wanted to get better at sales, I started reading books, plugging into podcasts, watching YouTube. I quite like the Wolf of Wall Street when it comes to selling. He's a bit off the cuff, he's a bit full on, but some of his stuff does really land. So how can you be obsessed with learning more about sales? What can you learn? What can you plug into? And there's a few things that really get to happen in order to be like creating more conversations, creating more potential clients, and also coming from a place of being proactive. Because as much as attraction marketing can work, sometimes there gets to be some stuff that's done on our part to attract and invite people into having a call with us and looking at our products or our service. So, I really invite you to look at how you can connect with people and build rapport. Because when people feel safe to share their desires with you, you can truly get to be of service to them. Because when you know their true desires, you know if your product or service is of the highest for them, and you can sell that from a place of no attachment and full trust, knowing it's of the highest, right? And I really invite you to see of how much value can you give out there. Now, some people can be a little bit afraid to give too much value. Personally, I love to give a lot of value, hence I will give away a lot of tips within my live trainings, within my content. I don't have a scarcity mindset around that. So how can you give even more value to your audience to build more know, like, and trust? Now, the last one I want to touch on is the direct result of your income, your results, your number of sales per month is in direct correlation with the amount of conversations that you are having. So I really invite you to get good at having conversations, with connecting with people, with building relationships from a place of no attachment, for just building, the point of just building relationships from a really beautiful spot. And, this is really how you get to nail and anchor in and get better at the actual sales process from beginning to end. So just really invite you, when it takes 10,000 hours to get really good at a skill, right? To master it. Now, when it comes to chefing, I've done it for 20 years. I've done 100% more than 10,000 hours working on yachts. That is well and truly covered. But the thing is, I never stop learning. I'm always learning stuff about cooking and chefing and skills. And it's the same with sales. Even though I've closed like 600K in 2 years, it might even be more than that now, I'm still learning about sales. I still have my stuff come up, but I am dedicated to constantly up-leveling my skill set, tongue twister. So those are the things I wanted to share today. I really hope and trust those 3 things really support you in really catapulting your sales, as I know they will. And if you want to dive in deeper, if you want to really get better at sales and you want to focus on getting rid of these beliefs that are keeping you a bit stuck and they're stopping you from getting the results you desire, put sales in the comments below. I'll reach out. I do have a sales course I am about to launch. And of course, I also do my one-on-one coaching. So this is the first time I've ever spoken about my Soul Aligned Sales course. It's a pre-recorded course with some one-on-one access to really support you on moving past some things. So if you'd like to learn more, pop sales in the comments below. We'll have a chat. We'll see if it's the right fit. Maybe some timeline therapy is more in alignment. It's completely up to what happens within the conversation. I can't pre-assume that one is going to be better for either or. So if you'd love to hear more, put sales in the comments below. I'm so excited for all of you to start crushing your sales and start really embodying that version of you that is making the sales and making the impact that you desire to be making in this world. And, if you feel like anyone would benefit from this training, feel free to tag them in this replay, share it to your wall, whatever you desire. I really desire for this to really get spread as far and wide as it does. And I'm sending you guys all so much love from Bali. I'm going to be announcing another amazing event on Friday. It's going to be done a little bit differently to this one. It's going to be a lot more interactive on a different site. So keep your ears open, your eyes open, everything open. And yeah, really looking forward to connecting with those of you that would like to dive a little bit more deeper into refining your sales process and getting rid of the beliefs that are holding you back. So just put sales in the comments for that, and I will connect with you. But for now, lots of love from Bali, and I will see you all very, very soon. Mwah. Ciao for now.